I'm gonna stream. Let me see. I'm gonna watch the stream's gonna be about it's gonna be about oh, did my camera freeze? Sorry, my camera froze. I don't know why. Oh, there you go. It's gonna be about the. Let me see what type of news. I'm gonna just watch CNN and then see what else I do. My bad. I don't know if you guys can hear my fan. I'm doing it's kind of warm where I live. Let me do California. California governor. Did they do a new one? I'm trying to see if they did a new one. Let me watch this one and then let me watch the. Give me a second. I'm gonna do something. Text. Oh, that's a little too big. Let me shorten it. Maybe 72. Right there.
And a good evening, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Our doubleheader debate kicks off right now with the race for LA mayor. There are a number of issues for Angelenos, and with the primary election now just 4 weeks away, the stakes are very, very high. Joining me for the debate tonight are my colleagues, Conan Nolan, NBC4 political reporter, and Enrique Chiabra, Telemundo 52 news anchor.
Oh, streaming in 720.
And we welcome tonight the 43rd mayor of the city of Los Angeles, the Honorable Karen Bass, and her two challengers, Nithya Raman, who is a member of the Los Angeles City Council District 4, and Spencer Pratt, a media entrepreneur and a former reality TV host.
We'll be asking questions tonight on behalf of viewers and voters. We are proud to broadcast and stream this debate in English and Spanish on NBC4 and Telemundo 52 in partnership with LMU.
All right, there are a couple of rules tonight. Each of the candidates will have 60 seconds to answer our questions, and then 30 seconds for rebuttals and or responses to follow. That is up to the discretion of the moderators here. If a candidate goes over their time, we'll give them a warning.
Yeah, I'm also gonna watch the. Let me actually know what this. I'm also gonna watch the California governor's debate.
Repeatedly, the candidates will get fewer questions. And of course, to our live audience here at the Skirball Center, please hold your applause.
And of course, we're expecting a dignified debate. We can certainly no name calling, obviously. We're interested in some precision here, some effort at giving the people of the city of Los Angeles some specificity as to how you're going to handle some of these problems. And let's start with one. It gets to January 7th of last year. So, Mayor, this is for you. I know that you have apologized for being out of the country during those wildfires. But still, there are plenty of people who believe that the city let them down. The Los Angeles Fire Department, for some reason, didn't have a strike team or a brush unit where there had been a fire just days earlier and had been reports it was still smoldering. That appears to be inexcusable. LADWP had a reservoir that was dry. The fire hydrants went dry. So based on that issue alone, articulate for us why you should get a second contract as the mayor of the city.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you. You know, when I took over as mayor, LA was definitely facing an awful lot of tough problems. And obviously, January 7th was horrible. And as I have told you before, it was one of the worst moments of my life to not be here when my city needed me. And it didn't matter where I was or why I was away. To me, it reminds me of like if you're away and a family member is in an accident. But I think that I deserve a second term, and I'm going to fight for that because we have made significant progress in a variety of areas. For example, homelessness was going up year after year. And under my watch, it is the first time we've had a decrease in street homelessness. While it went up in the country, 18%, it came down in Los Angeles, 17.5%. I have expedited the building of housing because our number one issue in this city is affordability. And one of the main drivers for affordability is housing.
Right, so let me follow up on the fires,
Sure.
though. One gets the impression, based on what we saw, that you prioritized wages and benefits, a hike in the salaries of the firefighters union over the operations budget. We saw those pictures of those engines that were inoperable because they didn't have enough mechanics to fix them.
Well,
was that a mistake? Explain that decision.
Let me just say, first of all, the primary problem there was that the chief sent home 1,000 firefighters. We actually had fire trucks with not enough firefighters there. So yes, there were fire trucks that were broken, but there were also fire trucks that were out of use because she had sent the firefighters home. You are correct. There was supposed to have been deployment and pre-deployment in the area. That did not happen. But the same way that LA was not prepared, neither was the county.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Bass, Mr. Pratt, this question's for you.
Yeah, that's when the fires were happening. Yeah, let me lower the speed of it. But yeah, the fires and the Palisades and then what was it, Altadena? Let me come back. Do something. I'm gonna do something real fast. Just give me a second. Sorry about that. I'm just checking my house. Sorry about that. I saw like the windows were. I had my windows fully open and it was like shaking my door. I was like.
Your desire to run for office, for mayor of Los Angeles, really born of your own experience. You lost your home in the fire, you lost your neighborhood. How does that really color your view of what needs to happen at this point, and how does that help others moving forward?
Yes, thank you for the question. To the Mayor Karen Bass's, the 1,000 firefighters that were available, but there was no engines for them because of the $17 million that Chief Crowley had asked the mayor for 9 weeks before, and Mayor Karen Bass denied it. So they may have been available, but they didn't have the equipment they needed. Not to mention Janice Quinones, who Mayor Karen Bass put into her position of power at the LADWP. She drained both of these reservoirs that these firefighters needed to put out these fires. A lot of people talk about climate change and hurricane force winds. The winds in the Pacific Palisades never reached higher than 40 miles per hour. For those first 6 hours, they didn't go above 27 miles per hour. So without those two reservoirs filled with 117 million gallons and 5 million gallons, these firefighters had to fly all the way to Malibu and Encino to get water. So that, to me, is the most dangerous thing that the mayor put us up against.
Mr. Pratt, a follow-up here, though. What would you do moving forward that would make this better 2 years from now if we face the same situation?
Well, first off, as mayor, I will never drain the reservoirs that we need for wildfire protection. There's this conspiracy now that they're empty, that they were for drinking water. But if you research it, they were actually made for wildfire protection. As mayor, I'm going to add 20 dip sites all around the communities connecting to pools. So God forbid the water system goes down again. These dip sites that will be connected to individuals' pools will fill up for the helicopters to have water.
Mayor Bass, do you have a response to
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. He's saying several things that are completely inaccurate. First of all, there was one reservoir that was out of commission. He is correct. 1 million years ago, it was for wildfires, but over the last 30, 40 years, it's been for drinking water. He talked about the winds. That is just completely inaccurate. If that were accurate, then the planes would have been able to fly. And so the winds reached close to 100 miles an hour, and the planes were unable to fly. So if there were reservoirs, if that reservoir had been open, it would not have worked. We had two other reservoirs totaling 8 billion gallons that were available, but could not fly.
Yes, she mentioned me. So she's an incredible liar. Everyone on their
Incredible liar. Damn. Spencer Pratt. I don't know. That's crazy. No, sorry about that. I haven't really watched too much of what Spencer Pratt has been. Yeah, I haven't been following too much of LA. The mayor. These must be like the top three. The Nita and Spencer and Karen Bass. I know Karen Bass is in the lead right now. Well, I saw somewhere on like some polls that she was in the lead, but let's see. I don't know. Let me just get back to
Google
the.
it. 40 weather stations in the Pacific Palisades. It never went above 40 miles per hour.
Pratt,
She is
Mr.
referencing
Pratt,
the
I have to
Alta
interrupt you for a
fire.
minute. I have to interrupt you. No name calling,
She just
please.
lied, though.
Yeah, but no name calling. We
She
can
called
fact
me a
check.
liar.
I
did
don't
not.
believe she did.
She said
I
he
did
was
not hear
making
that.
this up. I did not.
We're not going to debate
Okay.
the issue. We have a question now for
Yes.
Councilmember Rahman.
Councilwoman Rahman, so your District 4 is a fire-prone district. My question to you is, we've seen that you've introduced fire preparedness motions after January 2025. A lot of them happened after the fire, the Palisades fire. My question to you is, what did you do before that? Because this seems like it's more reactive rather than proactive. So any motions you introduced before January 2025?
Yeah, so my name is Nitya. I'm a council member for the 4th District,
Oh, it's
representing a huge
Nitya. Sorry, I mispronounced the name. It's Nitya. Sorry about that. Nitya.
percentage of the hillsides. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm a mother of young twins. I'm an urban planner by training, and I've been in this role for about 5 years. And in my role as a council member for a hillside area, we have to do a lot of work preparing for really extreme weather. Before rainy seasons, actually in the past, mudslides have been the biggest issue in my district. Entire homes have gone off of their foundations, and we go in advance and make sure that traps are cleared, that areas are available for flood and clearing. We do brush clearance and make sure that all of the departments and all of the interjurisdictional areas that are supposed to be doing brush clearance are actually doing that work. Before this set of fires, we sent out an email. We made sure that we were connecting.
But is that enough, just sending an email, especially for your district, the Hollywood Hills, Encino? That's a very big fire-prone area.
Well, we didn't have a single home that was lost during these fires. I was at the Emergency Operations Center. I was making sure that I was in communication with all of our partners. I also want to make sure that we understand that the mayor's role is to be the CEO of the city. They are the executive authority in the city. As a council member, you're a legislator. You push for your district, which I did, and I will always do, and I will always keep doing. But really, it is the mayor's role to be prepared and to coordinate before and during and after emergencies to ensure that the city is ready.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
As I said, we have a lot of topics to cover tonight. The next one is public safety. LAPD is reporting the overall crime rate is down, but people repeatedly say that's not their perception. They do not feel safe. We're seeing yet another series of home burglaries in the San Fernando Valley. And just today, federal authorities arrested at least 18 people connected to a drug trafficking investigation. They called it Save MacArthur Park. Mayor Bass, you have 60 seconds for this. Who ordered
Yeah, it's been like yeah, I just said like it's like I think it's one of the number one issues is safety and like well, other than like home prices and the cost of rent and how like the housing issue, but yeah, the safety of like yeah, just yeah, safety is like should be number one. Because it is kind no, I'm not gonna say all parts of LA, but just certain neighborhoods is just let's just say kind of risky or sketchy. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the video.
this operation with the feds? Is it a sign that our communities are not safe?
No, actually, that operation was ordered by the feds. However, we have been working in collaboration because we were very well aware of the drug dealing that was taking place there. We have used a comprehensive approach when it comes to MacArthur Park. Multiple things are needed. And so what happened a couple of hours ago was an action that had been in the works for many, many years. But let me just say, or many, many months, let me just say also that LAPD, that Los Angeles is understaffed in terms of LAPD for the nation's second largest city. And so I have been fighting to hire more officers. Unfortunately, I have not had the cooperation from the city council, including, unfortunately, my colleague next to me, who has voted repeatedly against hiring officers, including when we were finally able to increase the class size and the council would not fund it. What is in my current budget now is 512 officers, which still is not enough. At least that will deal with attrition. We cannot shrink our department.
Councilmember Rahman, you have 30 seconds to respond to that.
You know, I've supported multiple budgets, thoughtful budgets that maintained and sometimes even increased the size of the police force. I did vote against a big contract, a contract that gave the police union more money than the city had. A contract and its knock-on effects, which ultimately led to the city having $1 billion budget deficit last year. That led to us having to cut essential services across the entire city. If you're wondering why your streetlights are out on your block and the Bureau of Street Lighting is telling you that it's taking a year to fix a streetlight, that's why.
Councilmember Rahman, thank you. Mr. Pratt.
Yeah, I seen over that like for it's gonna be mentioned, but yeah, the LAPD and the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department their force isn't that big, so well it's big, but they're missing a lot of they need to start hiring more officers for the LAPD and the LA sheriffs. Yeah, so it's been low. The numbers have been low. Yeah, let me see if there's a well, I'm just seeing a stat that says they wanna do a plan to 4.4 million for the LAPD to hire 410 officers for the end of 2026. Yeah, I just seen it. 4.4 million. Yeah, also the sheriff's department, yeah, needs more hiring for the. They're also down. They're low in the numbers. Yeah, because we're big. It's a big city. On counties.
There were 100 LAPD officers working with the feds today. Your response to what went down in MacArthur Park?
It's unbelievable. I hope we have the FBI, the DEA, the CDC, the ATF. The more resources we can make the streets of LA safe with federal money, amazing. I talk to thousands of moms a week. They do not feel safe in the street. No matter what these crime statistics are telling anybody, it's not how people feel on the street. There's a difference between people reporting crime and feeling unsafe on the street. And with Councilwoman Rahman, people are more concerned about getting stabbed on the street than the lights being out. So I think Mayor Bass funding the police was important, actually.
Mr. Pratt, I have a follow-up question for all of you here.
He didn't
Langer's
mention
Deli.
me, so do I get to respond to that?
Just a moment. This is a response to some of that. Langer's Deli, which, as you all know, is a staple of downtown Los Angeles, is asking all of you on the stage right now to end the Needle Run giveaway program. So my question, Mayor, first of all to you, yes or no? It's run by the city run needle program.
Right.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Councilmember Rahman?
No.
Mr. Pratt?
Absolutely no needles and pipes for drug addicts on the street, ever.
Got it. I'll take that as a yes.
Sorry. So,
Go ahead.
You have 30 seconds.
well, I did want to say in response to this question that the way you address homelessness, the way you address people living on the street is by bringing them off the streets and indoors. I think we need to absolutely invest in shelter. We need to invest in services. We need to actually get people off the streets for people to be safe. That's what I've done in my district. We've had a 54% reduction in tents and encampments in Council District 4 just over 3 years. And I'm very, very proud of those results. That's how you achieve real public safety outcomes. That's how you ensure that the people of Los Angeles are safe.
So, Mr. Pratt, the chief of police said the other day that he doesn't think we're going to have enough officers for LA 2028. Now, the federal government's responsible for security for the Olympics, but LAPD is part of that. Plus, you have to patrol the rest of the city. Hiring more officers is expensive. It's extraordinarily so in many cases.
Yeah, 4.4 million they're gonna spend to hire off. Yeah, in 2028 there's gonna be the Olympics in LA, and this year it's something. I think it's the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup. So yeah, there's gonna be a huge event in LA. I don't know exactly where they're doing it. FIFA. I forgot what stadium it is. It says United States. Atlanta, Boston, Kansas City. They might do it in Inglewood because most of the events they do in Los Angeles. It's most of the time it's in the SoFi, in Inglewood. 8 matches. Yeah, down in Inglewood.
What's your strategy for getting more people, recruiting more officers and paying for them?
You know, what's more expensive than hiring them is overtime, because that's what these salaries for the fire department that everyone's complaining about. Everyone's understaffed. So first off, I'm going to bring hiring back to the LAPD. Right now, the LAPD is hired by the same people that hire sanitation, and we need to bring it back like it was 20 plus years ago so that police hire police, and we need a 10-year plan. It's going to take 10 years to get to the 12,500 officers that we need, and that needs to be a priority. Our sheriff's partner, they're the same size. They have $1 billion more budget for the same size. So this idea that Councilwoman Rahman keeps saying that the police department is overfunded, public safety should be our #1 priority. And we're going to find all this money when we stop her useless open bed plans that actually doesn't put drug addicts in these housing that we're spending billions of dollars. And we're going to actually start checking where this money is going. Not to mention, when you get rid of all the drug addicts off the street, the police won't be responding to the drug addicts all day long.
Thank you. Councilwoman, you can respond.
You know, I have not argued against paying police officers what they're worth. They do some of the hardest jobs in our city, and all of our city employees deserve a living wage. They deserve to be paid. What I am arguing against is bad fiscal management, which is what has gotten the city of Los Angeles into this moment. The police union is the most powerful force in LA city politics, and when you give contracts to people because they are going to fund your campaigns. And by the way, I'm the only person on the stage that is being spent against because I had the courage
Thank
to
you.
speak out about bad budget decisions.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
That is what happens.
Appreciate that.
We're going to stay with you, Councilwoman Brennan. So you've said, even last night you said it, that you're okay with the current staffing levels at LAPD. My question to you, people say that's just ridiculous, it's not enough, we need more officers. My question to you is, what do you tell people, especially victims, who say the city has let them down?
Yeah, and I think this is a very real issue. The city's most important response is public safety. It is so important to me on the
Yeah, it's like the number one issue. Yeah, they should be hiring more. Yeah, I don't blame the you know, back in 2020 there was that defund of, I don't know if like maybe there was less hiring when the whole 2020 BLM riots happened, which that was like 6 years ago now. Damn, time flies when the whole BLM riots happened in parts of the cities, in parts of Los Angeles. Yeah, just, I don't know. There was not a good look on LAPD and the sheriffs. Yeah. In 2020 when the whole George Floyd riots happened. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe, I know like it's been going down of how many LAPD and sheriffs they've been hiring, so let me just get back to the
mother
video.
of young children. The safety of people in Los Angeles is absolutely essential. But that's why I think we have to start getting honest with people about how we're actually going to respond to public safety needs. How will we make sure that when they call for help, someone picks up the phone at 911 and someone comes when they call, the right person comes when they call. Right now, we have not built out that system because we have funded more police officers but haven't been able to hire. Our police force is actually shrinking. We have shrunk right now.
So no more officers? Stay the same? What are you saying?
I would love to keep it the same. We've funded them more. The police force has been shrinking. So let's get real about how we actually deliver public safety outcomes. I'm going to work as hard as I can to maintain our police force where it is, but we also need to make sure that we build
I
out
wonder if they do
responses that can
something
actually
like
take call load off of LA.
they should see if they do something like what they do in what Mandami Zoan in New York was thinking about, like trying to have social workers also come to these calls. I don't know, especially somebody who's like suffering from like a mental health issue. I don't know. I know there is calls, like I think it's in California, it's called 5150, where like in Los Angeles, when somebody, you can request for someone to be I can't even speak, a psychotic detention. Yeah, in Los Angeles. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, I was looking at it. Yeah, in Los Angeles, 72-hour hold for somebody who's having a mental psychotic like kind of break. I don't know, but that should be like more like, I don't know what they should be doing, if they should have more social workers. There's only so much that LAPD can do.
PD. So many calls that are coming into LAPD do not require armed officer response. Let's take call load off of them,
Thank you,
and let's
Councilmember.
make sure that
Thank
police
you.
can come when people call.
Your time is up. Quick reply. Mayor
Yes,
Bass.
let me just say that unfortunately my colleague has contradicted herself, because on the one hand she says that if you pay officers what they need, then we're going to bankrupt the city, and then on the other hand she doesn't understand that frankly we have to pay the officers, had to give them a raise, had to expand recruitment because officers were going to other cities. We were not competitive. We have to make a decision, and frankly my job as mayor, my number one job is to keep
Thank
LA
you, Mayor
safe,
Bass.
and we can't keep LA safe with
Thank
the
you.
size of the
Your time
department we
is
have
up.
now.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about homelessness. 4 years ago, when we did a debate, it was the number one topic. It is right up there again. This is
Yeah,
an
I
issue
know.
that continues to challenge the city. Homelessness, many residents say,
I know, it's like the number one issue that's never gonna end in California, in Los Angeles or in California.
homeless in their neighborhoods make them feel unsafe. They feel the homeless have more rights than the residents do. So these are 2 yes or no questions for each of you. Right now, getting off the street is voluntary. Should that change if a bed or a shelter?
I feel like it shouldn't be voluntary. That's the whole thing. Like in LA, it shouldn't be voluntary for somebody to be Well, I guess voluntary because you can't like criminalizing homeless is. Yeah, but it should be like if they catch somebody like with like. Yeah, it's a huge. There shouldn't be like if somebody keeps like just there should be more like mental health institutions. Yeah, just freaking yeah, sorry. There should be more for mental health institutions in California and in Los Angeles. Which area, but they're all voluntary, that's the thing. If somebody doesn't want to get off the street, they stay on the street.
Is available. Mr. Pratt, we're going to start with you. Yes or no?
It's illegal to live on the street. So, yes, everyone needs to go inside.
Okay, Mayor Bass.
Everybody needs to go inside. Making it illegal and arresting people is not the way to solve this problem.
Ms. Rahman.
Yes, people need to go inside. When they're offered shelter, they go inside.
You don't get an opportunity
It is illegal.
to say no, so it's unanimous here. Next question. Do you support the ordinance that restricts encampments in front of schools or daycare centers? Mayor Bass, I'm going to start with you. Yes, or no? Ms. Rahman, yes or no?
I support keeping our streets safe. I did vote against the structure of this particular ordinance. And it is because, at its best,
yes or no?
it does not. The way this ordinance was structured, it
no.
does not keep our children safe. It does not keep our children safe. No, it doesn't keep our children safe enough.
It's a simple yes or no question, Mr. Pratt.
What I was saying is she's fighting because she doesn't think there's a difference between 1 foot or 500 feet for kids' safety with drug addicts with machetes in front of schools.
Yes or no?
Of course, we do not want encampments in front of schools, parks, daycare.
Okay,
I don't want vehicles.
Mayor, you had talked about Inside Safe. Let's go into that a little bit. You've suggested that there has been progress made, but even the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, which the city contracts with, has said that upwards of 40% have left and gone back to the street. I mean, there's a concern that a lot of money is being spent. There's been some progress, certainly not enough. I'll have you defend your program.
So, Conan, I declared a state of emergency on day one because I know that what Angelenos want to see are their streets clear. Inside Safe is the only citywide program that we have had that has reduced homelessness 2 years in a row. Prior to that, there was no citywide strategy, and homelessness was going up year after year. We need to have an entirely new system that is frankly independent in the city of Los Angeles because we need to build out services once we get people off the street. The same report also said that 60% of the people in Inside Safe stay inside. So it is a program that is working. Absolutely does it need to be better? Does it need to be more cost effective? And we're working on that right now by building temporary structures on city-owned property. We can do this, Los Angeles. We have been doing it for the last 3 years, and it's the first time homelessness has gone down.
Councilmember Rahman, so you promised to clear half of the encampments by the Olympics and all of it by the end of your term if you get elected.
Yes.
My question to you, you've been in the city council for 5 years. Why are we barely seeing this plan yesterday? I think it was posted on your Instagram. And is this realistic?
Absolutely, it's realistic, and it's realistic because I've done it in my own district. This is exactly the plan that I've operationalized in my district to get a 54% reduction in tents and encampments in my district in 3 years.
Okay.
In 3 years. Yes, and I am one council member and proposing a plan for an entire city at this time. It is absolutely realistic. But what I want to go back to is the idea that we are satisfied with our homelessness system right now. I don't think anybody in Los Angeles right now can say that we are satisfied with spending extraordinary amounts of money on our homelessness response and getting only incremental progress in response. I want to change that. Let's use the dollars that we're spending. Let's actually build out a real system that can get as many people.
Yeah, they have to think about the whole, like, in LA. Yeah, New York and LA, they have to really think about like how they do the whole system of the just more like just more help for them and more more help for them, more services to help them to get treated for like addiction to alcohol and drugs. And if they have mental health issues, more programs. Yeah. Just that. Get them off the streets into shelter. Well, even though like a lot of these people, they don't want to get into shelters because these shelters are not that good. So they have to see how they fix the whole shelter system. And yeah, because I've talked to a lot of people on the street, like of home, like, and they always say, oh, it's not that safe in these shelters, which is kind of true. That's why they don't want to stay at the shelters, because they feel unsafe. Well, some of them. So that's why they end up back in the streets. But you never know. I don't know. It's not an easy answer.
people indoors as possible. Let's not put them into $100,000 a year motel rooms for a year or more per person. This system is not fiscally sustainable, and we must work to end this crisis with urgency and with accountability right now.
So you'll
not
make a
years into the
make a
future.
commitment to clear all the incumbents by the end of your term if you get elected.
Yes, that's
Your
correct.
promise.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, Mayor.
I have to respond because I know the statistics she's talking about in her district, but the statistics are there because of Inside Safe, because she has called on Inside Safe repeatedly. I took the initiative to go into her district to make sure that encampments were cleared. We absolutely need a new system, and it has to have a comprehensive approach. Right. And there's no rooms for $100,000.
We need to move on here.
sorry,
Mr. Pratt,
sorry,
you have been
excuse
critical
me.
of what you consider failures of the current administration on this issue. You advocate for what some have called get help or get out of the way. What is that, and how do you do it?
I don't know who made up that name. First off, I just want to say, Councilwoman Robin acts like she doesn't have any authority with this homelessness. She was the third most powerful person in City Council. She runs the homeless housing thing. She acts like this is just Mayor Bass. First off, Inside Safe, I like to say Inside Safe makes all of us outside unsafe. The reality is no matter how many beds you give these people, they are on super meth. They are on fentanyl. The DEA statistic says 93% of this is a drug addiction problem. Nithya, Councilwoman Robin's plan for treatment first, I will go below the Harbor Freeway tomorrow with her, and we can find some of these people she's going to offer treatment for. She's going to get stabbed in the neck. These people do not want a bed. They want fentanyl or super meth. These ideas cost us over $400 million to house for 70, what is it, 3,000 people for $400 million? This is an absolute failure for both of them. They're a team.
So, Councilmember Rahman, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I want to just say to everybody who's watching today, you're going to watch today as Mayor Bass and Spencer Pratt attack me because they want to run against each other in the general election. Each of them thinks that running against each other is what's going to help them win. And they don't want to run against me because my ideas, which are based on real results in my district, which are based on real data, a real analysis of the system, and a focus on accountability and using every dollar as effectively as possible, which we have done in my district. I want to take this citywide. This is why this is happening today.
Councilmember Rahman, we're out of time. I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds to respond to this.
I would
Mr.
love
Pratt,
to
I'm going to
start.
start with you, and then I'm going to go to Mayor Bass.
First off, Mayor Bass and I are definitely not working together. I blame this person for burning my house and my parents' house and my town and all my neighbors down. I am not working with Mayor Bass. Second off, if I want to run against anybody, it would be the council member who is terrible. Mayor Bass has at least been a mayor for almost 4 years and has, as she talked about earlier, the unions, all the unions endorse Mayor Bass. You think it's easier to run against the incumbent mayor with all the unions or a random city council member who's been a failure for 6 years? I would much rather run against Councilwoman Rahman. Thank you very much.
Mr. Pratt. So Mayor, though, specifically, there's a lot of money, billions that are spent on the homeless and veterans.
Yes.
A lot of that money goes to 501c3s and nonprofits. Now we're hearing the Department of Justice has a lawsuit against the director of Abundant Blessings, $23 million they allege that was siphoned. Project Home Key, I believe, not a statewide project, two real estate developers accused of siphoning off $40 million. There's a perception that we don't know where the money's going, and that we have, the legislative analyst in Sacramento said there are $26 billion in state funds. We're not sure if that did any good. So how could we have confidence that the investment we are making in the future is not going into the pocket of some director who will end up in federal court?
First of all, I don't think it's shocking that you do find corruption in big programs like this, and I think it is extremely important to hold them completely accountable. But I will just say that for the first time, we've had a reduction of homelessness 2 years in a row because of policies that I have put in place. I also believe we need to have an overhaul of the system, but I can tell you that streets that we have cleared, crime is down, firefighters don't have to go out. Firefighters spend 30% of their time putting out fires that are related to homelessness. Businesses are able to have customers. Kids are able to walk to school, and parents without navigating tents. That's what I would say. But I have to say about my colleague here is that, yes, she is a member of City Council. She chairs the Homelessness Committee, but she also, in order to get anything passed in City Council, she has to build an alliance with her colleagues. And she has not been successful in doing that, which is why she has not been able to pass
Mayor
the
Bass, your
policies
time is up.
that she's talking about.
Thank you. Councilmember Rahman, so this also happened under your watch. Your plan calls for fully staffing the Bureau of Homelessness Oversight, which
Yes.
the City Council established under your leadership. So the question is, why is it not fully staffed as we speak right now?
It's not, I, as part of my efforts to create accountability on homelessness, I've been pushing for greater oversight within the city. Right now in the city, there is no one who is watching our dollars. There's no one, even as we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year, there is no accountability in the city. There's no staff at the city that are making sure that every single dollar that you are spending, your tax dollars, are going to the issue of homelessness. People are not watching to make sure those are going towards outcomes. They're not watching to make sure that every dollar is being spent appropriately. That is because the city has not invested in oversight. I've been pushing for exactly that oversight. I created the first...
Yeah, there should be like oversight and like audits and of these like non-profit like or city-owned programs, like non-profit, these like and I'm not gonna say all these non-profit. Yeah, just they found that like one. I know they arrested some lady with like some person of a non-profit homeless group and was taking all of the money. So you have to just do audits of the federal government or the city government on checking what they're spending the money on. yeah, just audits and checking these audits on like these homeless programs and just and these nonprofits who do work with the homeless. Because there was that one case like a year ago that they arrested a woman who was cashing in on the money, but there was no fixing it. So get back to the video.
Data around performance that the city had because I pushed and it happened. I established the Bureau of Homelessness Oversight through my powers as a council member, but the mayor is the executive of the city. She has the power to move departments to hire and to build out the staffing. A year after this was established, no new staff members have been hired for this. No leadership has been hired.
Thank you.
No
Time
one.
is up. Thank you.
Mr. Pratt, this next question is for you, and you have 60 seconds.
Mayor Bass would like to respond. I don't know if you heard.
Do we have the time?
No, I'm just.
No, go ahead, Mayor.
Well, thank you. Let me just say that the bureau that the councilwoman is referring to is being staffed. Half the staff are there now. And we have been reducing homelessness again for the first time and building out a system that needs to be built. The problem with my colleague, though, and I appreciate your interest in data and all of that, that is important. But I believe it was important to act in this city. Angelinos do not want to see encampments on their street.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sorry.
Okay, Mr. Pratt. Mr. Pratt. Thank you for directing traffic up here. We appreciate it. How does your professional experience qualify you to make sure and to oversee a budget the size of LA's $14 billion budget? We know you're passionate about what you're doing. We know you're an entrepreneur. But this is a $14 billion budget. What kind of experience do you bring to the table for that?
Well, thankfully, I have common sense, and I'm humble. I have humility. I'm going to surround myself with the smartest people in the world because I actually don't have to balance the budget. The mayor doesn't balance the budget. She has a CAO. She has a team, and we're not going to say she has the best team, but she has a team, and they balance the budget. My job is to be, as crazy as this will sound, I'm the adult in the room here at Spencer Pratt, and that's what it's come to. And so I plan on putting people that actually want to make sure all of our money, like Councilwoman Rahman was saying, is accounted for. Pure transparency, every dollar, all of our tax money. And to get back to what Councilwoman Rahman was saying about that, in her own district, she let one of these NGOs, a building was on the market for $3 million. It sold for $8 million to the NGO with that tax money that she's so concerned about. She wants to watch it all. She can't even keep track of the NGOs in her own district stealing our tax money. So when I'm doing the budget, we're gonna make sure no one's stealing our money.
Councilmember Rahman, do you have a response for that?
I'm not sure what specific building Spencer Pratt is referring to, but I will also just say that we have pushed extremely hard to build the oversight system, so much so that I had to go out and get philanthropic support to create the data for performance oversight and accountability at the city. The city was refusing to put our dollars and our people towards it. This is important. Your tax dollars deserve to be watched. You deserve a system that responds to you with responsibility.
We should be hounding this the tax system, what the city spends their money on, especially just what the city spends
accountability. That's what I want to establish.
Ms. Rahman, thank you. And Mayor Bass, do you have a response to that as well?
Sure. Again, what I have done on my watch is reduced homelessness for the first time 2 years in a row. We absolutely need a system that is able to provide services to people. It has been woefully unacceptable what has been happening so far. I feel we're moving in the right direction, and under my watch, we will continue to do that because we need to make comprehensive changes to what has been going on for so many years before, frankly, either of us arrived.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a question from a student from the Harvard of the West, Loyola Marymount University. Your name, your major, and what year are you? And your question.
Good evening. My name is John Kasabian. I am a senior urban environmental studies major. My question for you is that Los Angeles remains one of the most unaffordable regions in the nation. If elected, what is one housing policy you would implement immediately or change?
Mayor, we'll start with you.
Yes, the housing policy that I did implement immediately. After I declared a state of emergency around homelessness, I expedited the building. 42,000 units are being fast-tracked for affordable housing. We have another 43,000 units that are potential with our adaptive reuse, which means you can change office buildings into housing. We also changed the zoning codes, so we have the potential for another 500,000 units. I know that one of the primary drivers for the lack of affordability in our city is housing. And
yeah, I know, affordable housing or just housing, more building. It's because of all the zoning.
making sure that people can afford to live here. So that is how I have focused on addressing the affordability issue. Now, there's a lot of other factors that come into affordability that we can't control, such as the price of gas or what is happening 3,000 miles away. But
yeah, no, the price of gas and
every single thing we can do. Rent stabilization, reducing the price of rent, eviction prevention. I started the mayor's fund that allows us to do that.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman.
Thank you for that question. This is one of the driving factors behind my candidacy and the work that I want to do. The cost of housing is driving young families out of the city. It's driving young people out of the city. It is making this into a city that is no longer one of opportunity, and it is not central to anyone else's agenda on this stage except for mine. The mayor has not had a deputy mayor of housing during a housing crisis for the last 2 years. The ED1 program has entitled 42,000 units, but only 14% of them are actually under construction. What we need to do is make sure that the city gets out of the way. Right now, on average, the city takes over a year and a half to approve multifamily housing, apartments, exactly the kind of housing that we desperately need in order to bring prices down. Why is the city standing in the way? As mayor, I will take my executive authority over the departments and ensure that they respond to new apartment applications within 60 days if they are zoning compliant, so that we can build exactly the kind of housing that will make this into a city of opportunity again.
Ms. Rahman, thank you. Mr. Pratt, you have 60 seconds.
She also mentioned.
She did. I heard it.
See how nice they are being to each other?
She's a nice person. Actually.
That's good to know.
Mayor.
What's going on?
Well, first of all, I disagree in terms of how much time it takes to go through the process. We have cut red tape so you can go through much quicker than that. The 42,000 units of housing that are being fast-tracked, 6,000 of those units are actively under construction, but there are definitely other factors that have weighed into that. And some of the factors are the price of construction materials, just the general economy, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that we are able to fast-track.
Well, the whole thing in the day is it's like the zoning things. I guess the construction things too, but the zoning. I know in the day in New York City, it's all about the zoning stuff, so that's why it's so annoying for people to. The whole building of the houses here, it's the zoning issues for the environmental stuff. I'm gonna go use the restroom. I'll be back. Like I'm gonna turn off my camera for like 1 second. I'm gonna be back right now. I'm back.
That housing. We want to see people moving right now, which is why we've come up with a variety of ways in addition to that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pratt, are you ready?
I am. Thank you so
All right,
much.
you have a minute to respond.
Well, the good news is when I enforce the law and clear the street of the drug addicts that have taken over 40 blocks of downtown LA, abandoned buildings that have drug addicts just lighting them on fire every other day, I will have potentially 20,000 units available to build. And thankfully, I spent a lot of time in a town that has a lot of builders, and I see all the new 3D printing and the potential, how fast we can do it. And with this ED1 that Mayor Bass is talking about, I met with a developer this week, Carlos, and he said, yes, she did an initiative where she fast-tracked it 6 months. It's been 2.5 years, and he hasn't been able to get his permits. The best part is some of these developers that are taking all our tax money are charging $750 a square foot for stuff that should be costing $250. And Councilwoman Rahman, this plan that she's going to build all these units, guess what? She's going to sue all the people that actually rents to the tenants, and then they're not going to even want to rent to anybody because she wants people to squat in there for a year and not pay. So I don't know how her plan is going to work.
Councilmember Rahman, you have 30 seconds to respond. And then Conan has a question that coincides with all of this. Please.
Great. I mean, I'm not sure how to respond to that vision of Los Angeles. This is a MAGA Republicans' idea of what Los Angeles looks like. This is really not the city that I love so much. We need to make the city so much better.
Yeah.
We have to work so hard to ensure that this city works for everyone who lives in it. And crucial to that is actually ensuring. I'm sorry, I was still speaking.
Okay, continue, Council.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't mind, the governor the other day expressed frustration, Mayor, with you. It appears the city has delayed the implementation of Senate Bill 79, that is high density along transit lines. I know that you wanted him to veto that law. He didn't. I know, Councilwoman, you supported that law. Mr. Pratt, I'd like you to weigh in. I don't know if we need a minute for all this, but can you just tell us, with regard to building transit, a lot of neighborhoods are concerned about this, high density, up to 9 stories at transit lines. Why did you want to delay that, Mayor?
What, did I want to delay it?
Right.
Well, first of all, I don't support Sacramento saying that this is what we need to do here in Los Angeles, especially our city, where we are very much committed to building housing. And I feel, especially after all of the units that I talked about, we are on track to build housing. We need absolutely more housing built.
Yeah, more housing, but I don't know.
SB 79 basically says you can build it in any residential area, and I don't believe that that is necessary. In some areas, and I always talk about Sherman Oaks, they don't want their individual neighborhoods disrupted, but they are very open to building housing on their commercial strips. Councilwoman Harris Dawson is the perfect example where on Crenshaw Boulevard, you see hundreds of units being built, but the single-family homes are not disrupted. There's ways to do it. We are on our road to do it. We did not need Sacramento to tell us what to do and to mandate what we were doing.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman?
Here's why SB 79 and other state laws keep coming down on us, because the city of Los Angeles is not taking responsibility for the demand for housing. We are not building housing at the level that we need to address our housing shortage. And when we don't build that housing responsibly, when we don't take responsibility for it from the very top, including from this mayor who's pushed back against these state mandates, they come in and impose these mandates on us. Here's what I would do instead. Let's actually plan for the housing that we need. Let's build out the neighborhoods that we want to build. Let's make them beautiful. Let's actually solve for the kind of density and affordability that the state is asking us to do. We can do it if we plan for it. And as mayor, that's exactly what I would do. I would ensure that I would use the executive authority in the mayoralty to make sure that every department was planning for density in ways that Angelenos welcomed, so that Sacramento didn't have to intervene. In the absence of that, this is what happens.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll get to you. And Mr. Pratt, it would seem to me you agree with the mayor on this topic, but I just want you to asking you about density development imposed by the state.
Yeah, to be clear, I just said I'm going to have 40 blocks when I get rid of all the drug addicts that are sleeping on the sides of all these empty buildings. So we will have so much high density. I'll have so many bike lanes for mayor, or excuse me, common ones like prison-like boxes, but I think they should have some style. Not to mention the fact that Councilman Rahman is fighting Mayor Bass on Sacramento, where she just was telling me, this is LA, this is LA. Where's her LA pride?
Okay, Mr. Pratt, listen, you can answer this next question because it relates to it. Downtown Los Angeles seems to be in a state of crisis. The high-rises there, the office buildings are worth a fraction of what they used to be. That will impact the budget, by the way. You have a graffiti tower. You have a $500 million bridge, 6th Street Bridge, where somebody ripped out 38,000 feet of copper, so it's in the dark. You have restaurants, Kohl's at 6th and Main, Clifton's at Broadway and 8th, that survived the Depression, Prohibition, and World War II, but they can't survive the human feces outside their front door. They're closed. What is your plan for downtown? Can we afford to let it die?
I know downtown is downtown's a mess. I don't even know what to tell you. I'm only gonna do this. I'm only gonna watch the LA Mayor thing because I have to go. I have to get going. I have to go do an errand. So I'm gonna come back for the governor's race debate in like another hour. I'll be back after. I'm gonna just watch this.
And Ms. Rahman, we'll start with you. Would you agree to bring city workers back full time to the office in order to help some of the businesses?
I think we do definitely need to bring city and county workers back. In our office, we have people in the office 3 days a week in order to be able to address issues. There are some workers that should be in the office much more, and there's others that can be there 3 days a week, but absolutely. That is not the only intervention that downtown needs. And right now, the lack of care that's being demonstrated in downtown LA is part of our broken status quo. Downtown LA needs attention, and it needs real care. It needs more public safety officials on the streets. It needs work with businesses to ensure that businesses aren't just fleeing downtown LA, that they're actually staying there. It needs regular cleanups. It needs real maintenance. It needs a strategy. Instead, what Mayor Bass has done is to dismantle our economic development department. We don't have a strategy to keep businesses here in Los Angeles, and we're watching as they walk away from this city instead of investing in it. That's the kind of investment that I want to encourage people to make by actually investing in a real economic development strategy for LA.
Mr. Pratt, how do we solve this? Are you want to bring workers back into the city full on? I mean, what's the solution for this problem? He mentioned a lot of problems. What's your plan?
Thank you, sir. Well, first off, I was just talking to my friend Rachel, who works in downtown LA. Downtown is so unsafe now that they have to serve the food. All the employees have to eat inside. They can't risk going out. That's why all these beautiful restaurants are closing, because it's so unsafe. So before we require city workers to go back into any buildings, we need to enforce the laws on the street. Councilwoman Rahman is talking about safety, yet when animal rescue activist Rebecca Corey came in and said the dogs are being tortured and abused on the streets of downtown, she walked out of the hearing. She doesn't care about safety. She doesn't care about anything she's talking about. At least Mayor Bass pretends to care.
Mayor Bass, can we afford, and you've got a minute to answer this question, can we afford to let downtown LA die? As
No,
Colin
we
pointed out,
absolutely cannot
but it's
afford.
in a crisis situation at this
Absolutely.
point. It
And
seems
so-
to be going the wrong way.
So let me just tell you that we absolutely cannot. Downtown is the center of our city, and it is an economic engine that absolutely needs to be attended to. We have a strategy that is working. We are working with the downtown business associations. We are increasing public safety there. That's why I did the adaptive reuse ordinance, which allows for the office buildings that are vacant to be converted into housing, and those conversions are taking place right now. That is why we have to deal with the street homelessness that is there. There needs to be massive intervention there. And then, of course, there is the convention center. And the convention center is a long-term investment that we have to make in our city, because the more people you have downtown, whether it's a convention or people coming downtown for concerts, is the way to make the city more safe and downtown more safe. And my number one obligation is to keep our city safe. So downtown is absolutely critical.
Thank you.
All right, moving to our Councilmember Rahman, would you like to respond to that?
To
The
this,
mayor and what she's talking about there?
I mean, look, I feel like we're having a theoretical conversation here about the direction of our city, which is being led currently by our mayor. Our mayor is the CEO of the city. She sets the direction of the city.
Right.
And if you are satisfied with the status quo, then I've got great news for you. The incumbent is on the ballot. What I'm here to say is that we need more urgency to respond to the issues right now. We need real plans. We need real efforts to make sure that we're keeping businesses here, that we're keeping workers here, that we're keeping residents in downtown LA. That is the strategy and effort that I want to bring to this role.
Councilmember Rahman.
Councilwoman Rahman endorsed
we-
Mayor Bass 2 weeks before she ran for election. 2 hours before the candidacy closed, she endorsed Mayor Bass. So all of a sudden now she has all these problems with Mayor Bass. They do photos
Mr.
together.
Pratt.
Mr. Pratt.
Oh, sorry.
We have so many more topics, and you know what? I know we're passionate. You're passionate about what we're talking about, but voters really want some concrete evidence here, and they want people to
Yeah,
be direct.
but
So,
she referenced
moving
me.
along,
I need
Mayor,
to
I'm so
respond
sorry
to
to have
that.
to cut you
That's
off.
supposed to be part of the rules.
Yeah, go ahead, Mayor.
I haven't been offered that in a lot of this debate. So
Well, I
the
think
rules
I'm
are-
joining you there. Absolutely, the status quo and breaking up the status quo and dealing with the bureaucracy is exactly why I ran. And I started doing that by addressing homelessness, but also by bringing coalitions together to make sure that we can deal with downtown. Did you know that we are the only major city that does not have a comprehensive infrastructure plan? So it's been haphazard up until now, left to the wishes of every single council member. I have instituted and started a comprehensive infrastructure plan
Thank you,
and
Mayor.
moving right away into replacing 60,000 solar lights.
Thank you, Mayor.
from
Are we good
copper.
on this topic now? Because this next topic, a lot of viewers, when we put up the QR code, wanted to know about this. It has to do with the film and television industry. A lot of people think we're nowhere close to where we should be. I know it bounced back the first part of this year, but it's at least 30% below what it was pre-COVID time. So the question becomes, and Mayor, I'm going to start with you, do we do enough to keep production in Southern California?
Well,
You have 1 minute.
let me just tell you what I have done. In working with the industry, we have expedited permits. I established one person who is a czar to provide concierge services for the industry. We also lowered the costs to do filming in Los Angeles. So, for example, the observatory, we reduced those amounts by 70%. We are beginning to bring the industry back, and I'll tell you, this has been a long-standing issue of mine. When I was in Sacramento and served as speaker, I did the first tax credits and also promoted and advocated for those tax credits here in Sacramento. We have a long way to go, but we are absolutely making headway because of policies that I put in place.
Mr. Pratt, are we doing enough to bring Hollywood back?
Absolutely not. And that's great. Mayor Bass did those credits back in the day. But we don't have tax credits that even Massachusetts has better tax credits than Hollywood. We needed a mayor 3 years ago that was going to Sacramento and fighting the governor to get uncapped tax credits. We need post-production tax credits. And Councilwoman Rahman will tell you, my husband's a producer, blah, blah, blah. The reality is she's been in power for 5 years. Now, all of a sudden, she has these tweets and these posts, and she's doing Substacks. Both of these people have been the reason why there's no more Hollywood. Not to mention, even if they do, these things, we're still going to have drug addicts all over the street because they're treatment first, open beds, not mandatory treatment. Do you know I talk to producers? They have to pay gang members right now to keep the streets safe, to go film anything on the streets of LA. So absolutely no, these two politicians have failed Hollywood times 1,000.
Councilmember Rahman, if elected, what would you do
Yes.
differently here? Is enough being done?
I would say, this issue is very personal to me. My husband has been a longtime writer in the industry, and we desperately need to keep Hollywood here. And I feel like the mayor's role is really to be the loudest advocate for the best possible version of the policies that we need, including a tax credit that has no cap, that is guaranteed years into the future so that production, so that studios can actually invest here and they know that they can invest here. We need to make sure that we're reducing red tape in City Hall to make sure that productions have no bar to being able to film here. I also would create a real film office here. We don't have enough people at the city to make sure that filming can happen quickly and efficiently. We need people who know the industry and know the city and can make sure that we're working across county jurisdictions. That's what happened in Baywatch. City and county weren't talking to each other. Let's make it possible for us to actually do the work. I feel so strongly about this. And Angelinos in the industry need a fighter. I will be that
Thank you.
fighter.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
We have to move on. Really quick,
she
30
never,
seconds.
in her time there, she feels very strongly about it, but never offered one motion. And when motions came up on the industry, she either recused herself
We
or
got to move
got
on.
up and walked out.
Thank you. Thank you both. We got to move on. Sorry. I am so sorry. We have to move on. We have a very important topic. So let's talk about immigration. Immigration after what happened last year, that was a really big deal. So I want to ask you all three. This is a yes or no question, an answer. So there's an LA council member. He wants voters to decide. He is saying that non-citizens, should they be allowed to vote in local elections? Is this a yes or no, Mr. Pratt?
No.
Mayor Bass,
It depends. It's not a yes or no.
depends on what?
Well, first of all, when you say non-citizens, it doesn't mean they're here illegal. It doesn't mean they're undocumented. They could have green cards. They could be here perfectly legal. And there's a lot of states and cities that do that on very, very local
Sorry about
elections.
that.
We have to see what the councilman is proposing.
Councilmember Bremen.
Yeah, I would say,
Non-citizen.
again, it does depend. In other places, school boards have
was a yes or no question.
non-citizens,
Yes or no?
non-citizens who vote
Mr.
for
Fred, I have a question for
who are
you. You
residents who
told
vote for
NBC
these.
News a few months ago that you want LAPD to take care of, so if you don't want ICE to be here in the city. So the question is, you want LAPD to do enforcement as ICE?
No, that's not what I said. What I said is, when I'm mayor, I want to enforce all the laws and get all the drug dealers, the murderers, the child traffickers, the rapists. And if they're legal or illegal, if they are a danger to our site, I want them off our streets. So that's why I said ICE won't be coming here because I'm going to end up, everybody they're supposedly looking for, they're going to be in jail when I'm mayor. So
That's not what ICE was doing.
Okay, we're moving
ICE
on.
was chasing people in car washes. ICE was chasing people in Home Depots and picking up vendors selling fruit. The majority of them, over 70%, had no record, no police record whatsoever. That is not what was going on in here. I was against it. I physically went out and did everything I could to stop it, and we'll do that again.
was that phone call when you were like, hello, please don't come here? Just to be clear, I didn't say what she said. I said I'm going to target all criminals. So she just put words
That's
in
not
my-
what I said.
Okay. He asked me
Thank
what I
you.
said.
Final question for all three of them. In another hour, there's going to be 7 candidates for governor. The governor's going to be there at one point. Very quickly, just a line. What do you need from the next governor to help this city? Ms. Rahman?
We need support we need financial support when our federal administration has abandoned us. We need to make sure that we are able to fund the programs that we need. We need to be able to make sure that we can ensure that the city is vibrant into the future. We absolutely need a governor who is going to fund that full film tax credit that we need. We need the support in the absence of support from the federal government.
Mr. Pratt?
What do we need
The
from
next governor. What do you need from that person?
Personally, the governor needs to clear all his dead fuels around our community so more communities don't burn down, all the dead brush surrounding Sunland, Tahunga, Bel Air, Brentwood, the Valley. So there's a lot of dead fuels that they leave because they care more about plants over fuels. I would start with there. Second, we need to make sure this home key, this homeless billions that's laundered through these NGOs, we need to have where you require treatment. Right now, they make it so someone like Mayor Bass has to fight. Even if she wanted to require treatment, they have to fight Mayor Bass because they say, no, you can do drugs inside of these $1 million rooms. So I would say we got to stop the money laundering.
Mayor Bass.
We need cooperation from the governor. For example, we need the governor to support us in cleaning up our highways, doing the landscaping. It looks a mess. We need the graffiti removed. We need the governor to restore the money for homelessness that was cut by 50%. We need the governor to front fund the money for FEMA because while we're waiting for it to come from D.C., we need to do undergrounding in the Pacific Palisades. And there's a lot of things that we need from Sacramento. It is fortunate that I serve there. I know how to work in Sacramento. I know how to make it work for us. I've had to change laws to help us here. I've also had to do the same thing in Washington, D.C. Need them to advocate for the insurance industry and the banking industry so that people can rebuild in the Pacific Palisades.
All right. Thank you so much. Time flies. Special thanks to our candidates tonight, our partners at LMU, and of course, the Snowball Culture.
Yeah, good debate. I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna end the stream. See you guys.